More likely to be.
Okay, we are live. He is one of the ladies who's stuck in traffic.
Speed humps. Thank you.
All right, I have 6:30 in the evening on August 20th. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Mr. Hall, would you say the prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, guide us this evening as we move through this meeting. We pray that you would give us wisdom, discernment. May we do the work of our community and in a fashion with wisdom that you would give us as we would make decisions. And we pray, Lord, that we continue to build our community up into a place that people want to live, a place that people even of faith would recognize their welcome. We pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good, thank you. Well, Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Hall.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman is not here.
He is going to be late. He texted earlier and he's stuck in traffic. He'll be here when he can get here.
All right. Councilmember McMahon.
Here.
Councilmember Hefner.
Here.
Councilmember Brooke.
Here.
And Councilmember Rubel.
Here.
And we have a quorum. First up on the agenda tonight is approval of the July 16th meeting minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented.
Motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say
Where are we at on the
excuse me.
requested reports?
Still working on them.
Still working on them.
We'll get them.
Isn't
So
it-
we have,
Is that something that's not tracked currently, or?
are you talking about the maintenance records? They were in several different places. We're consolidating them so we can get them into a good reading format so we can better understanding.
Okay.
So we have a motion and second on the board for approval of the meeting minutes. All those in favor, any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up on the agenda is the department reports and financials as they're provided to you. A chance to review them. I'd entertain a motion to approve as they were presented.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is Planning Commission report. Chairman Mixon.
Good evening. I'm here to report on the July 22nd planning meeting. We had a public hearing for a site plan review for a Dollar General on Highway 38 along that area by Coco's. Same concerns as last time. The only thing was I explained to the citizens that it was a approved C2 area, and therefore we can't determine what business goes into a C2 as long as they meet the city's code requirements. So that was pretty much the overall view of the public hearing. We also went on to approve that, and so there's a Dollar General. It's called a DG Market that they'll be putting in, and they have it's 10,000 square feet. It'll have fresh produce, fresh dairy, and fresh meat available, as well as the typical Dollar General items. So it's a little bit different than what we've seen around the area. I think they said the closest one is in Shannon Hills.
Yes.
So We also had a work session, and we discussed the UDC going forward. I think we're making really good progress on that as a group, and I look forward to continuing those work sessions with the staff. And that's it.
Any questions? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve the report as presented.
Motion.
A motion, we have a second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Wastewater Advisory Committee. Councilmember McMahon, you have a report?
Yes, I do.
Good.
We had a good meeting, everyone attended, and we are actually got a couple of things on our agenda coming forward for next month. We're going to look at the new, how everything shows up with the new meters, like how you can read them. And then after that, we want to learn how to read a water bill. We do still have 3 open positions for outside the city limits for that water commission.
Yes, anybody would like to apply, if they live outside city limits, you're welcome to apply.
And Bruce also offered to give tours
Yes.
to the members so they can kind of understand the water.
I guess at some point in time, he'll offer to take you up to the intake site for Lonoc White. Yeah, that's impressive.
I've already been, yeah, I've been there.
That's right, you've been there, yeah. It is impressive. All right, thank you very much. Street Parking Committee report, Chief Benton.
Good evening, everyone. We had our tour of the city in the fire truck. Got interesting in a few places. I have not called another meeting. Back to school, and of course, you know, fire chief's got an event coming up real soon.
Yes.
So after he gets back from that, we'll reconvene and see what we can get on paper.
Fire Chief's getting married.
Yes,
That's the event.
but that's where we stand with it right now.
All right, any comments, questions for Chief? Thanks, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Next on the agenda is unfinished or old business. Madam Clerk, would you read the title, please?
An ordinance requiring premises to be kept free from weeds, rank grass, garbage, rubbish, and other unsightly and unsanitary articles, requiring property owners to eliminate, fill up, or remove stagnant pools of water or any unsanitary thing, place, or condition which might become a breeding place for mosquitoes, flies, and germs harmful to the health of the community, prescribing a procedure to be followed in such cases, repealing and replacing Ordinance 2007-07, and for other purposes.
Council, this is a second reading with modifications. We added the penalty clause that had been left off inadvertently from the previous repealed ordinance. I'd entertain a motion to approve the second reading.
Motion.
A motion, do you have a second?
Second.
And a second, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
and Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Counts 4-1. Ordinance 2024-14 has been approved on its second reading. Council, I'd entertain a motion to waive the rules on a third reading.
Make the motion.
We have a motion to waive the rules on the third reading,
Second.
and we have a second. Before we go any further, do we have any public comment on this ordinance? Hearing none, I'd entertain, all right, we have a motion second to waive the third reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Excuse me. Okay, so we have a vote of 3-2 for a waiving reading. I will vote in the affirmative for the fourth affirmative reading. I entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-14.
Motion to adopt. Second.
Motion second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
No.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
3-2, I will vote in the affirmative to adopt ordinance 2024-14. No need for emergency clause. The ordinance will go into effect in 30 days.
Can I ask a question?
You can.
Now, how does this play into the later resolution? I mean,
About cleanup,
yes,
we're going to start, well, when we get to that point, we'll talk about it, okay?
okay.
Okay. All right, moving forward to new business. Ordinance 2024-16, would you read the title, please?
An ordinance accepting the annexation of certain territory to the city of Ward, Arkansas, making same a part of the city of Ward, Arkansas, assigning same to wards and zoning said annexed territory.
Council, this is a normal part of business when a piece of land by 100% ownership would like to come into the city. This is the Moon Ridge, Moonlight Cove, I think it's the name of it, Moonlight Meadows subdivision off of Moon Road. They have asked to come into the city for annexation, and it's been signed off by the county judge, and so is an order. So,
Do we have a map?
sure, we have a map. I don't have a map on here, no, I'm sorry. It's off of Moon Road.
What we received, but I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
either. So it's just down on Moon?
It's that 500 plus home down on the moon, yeah. Well, yeah, you do have to accept it. You need to accept it. I mean, this is, you said, yeah, no. Well, I have a ordinance all right, open floor discussion. You discuss that?
Well, you're doing something into the city right now, because nothing's been built yet. I mean, there's no homes on it right now, it's just one owner, right?
If that's the exact reason.
But that is exactly why we would want to accept it before they build on it, because then that way we have a say-so on how they build and what they build.
But we already have a say so on how they build, what they build, whether they're within a mile of our city limits.
Not all of it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, that is. But more to the point, once you annex in, he's 100% ownership, he owns the property. If you wait till it sells off, then you have to get everybody's approval, or 51%. The petition method, yes. No, this is how it's supposed to be done on annexation 4. Let the record show that Mr. Charles has made it in.
But they get annexed in, that's right across the way from Blacktop, correct?
Correct.
So then Blacktop will be annexed into the city afterwards.
We could work up an enclave annexation, this is true. 4. 4 sides. Yeah, it had to be 4 sides, it had to be surrounded. All right, we got, any further discussion? I entertain a motion for the first reading of ordinance 2024-16.
Motion.
Second.
A motion second. Any public comment? Come on forward, please. State your name, please.
Lacey Ocker.
Yes, ma'am.
I am curious about how that would affect all of us in the community with more population but a lack of resources.
In terms of resources, in terms of,
Like with the schools, we only have one, which is an elementary. Everyone else is going to Cabot. That's going to cause more congestion. We're limited in what we can do with that. And then also we can't have any like big supermarkets or major, I guess, facilities for purchasing items in this area.
well, I think we can, and in fact, to your school point, that's up to the school board. On how they are aware of this subdivision going in, we had to put them on notice, which we have, so they're aware of it, and they factor that in on their growth plans, I'm sure.
Oh.
But like, to clarify that, we're part of Cabot School District, so we really don't have, that's not our choice. Like, if they're in the county or they're in that zone, even if they build there and they're not part of the city, there's more than likely they'll be going to Ward Central if that's where they're located. So we don't
Right.
have an like, that's not part of it. The part of the other stuff, the building businesses, no doubt, we definitely need some businesses, but we can't tell somebody to build something there either. So there's a lot with all that.
There is a
Sorry.
lot.
I think the issue is that it's already going to be built. It's just a decision of whether we accept it as a part of our city, which would be a wise decision on our part financially as well, physically be able to take care of it and stuff.
We are providing sewer, water, fire protection for sure, with annexation, police protection also. So we're providing all the services anyway.
So it's gonna
This is-
utilize the resources that we already have that are minimal?
They're not minimal.
We don't have enough police officers already.
We also get more revenue out of this subdivision too. I mean, there's a cost benefit.
And we have just added some police officers.
We did.
Yeah, I think
I
too.
mean, we're growing our police department to help what we have.
Is your mic on, sir?
Sorry, it's not.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've seen an increase. We've increased the police department, three new officers this summer. And so we're trying to meet the needs as we have them. I mean, it seems like we're doing it, I think. And we would, obviously, if that much growth continues to happen, we're gonna have to add more.
Yes,
Yeah. But
Thank you.
thank you.
Hey, council, we have a motion second on the floor for first reading. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hefner? Yes. Councilmember Brooke?
No.
Councilmember Rubel?
Yes.
Councilmember Hall?
yes,
Councilmember Chapman?
I got a question, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I was watching on the stream, so I'm aware of what we're voting on. Can I go ahead and still?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, I vote yes.
And Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Yes, if you decided you were unaware because you hadn't been watching, then yes, you could recuse yourself for that vote, but thank you for that. Okay. Ordinance 2024-16 has been approved on its first reading. We can entertain a motion to waive the second and third readings, please.
motion.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So we got a count of 5-1 approval. The motion has been approved. I entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-16.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke?
No.
Councilmember Rubel?
Yes.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
And Councilmember Hefner?
Ordinance 2024-16 has been approved and adopted. It'll go into effect in 30 days, and at that point, then city clerk will send the proper paperwork off back to the county, which will go to GIS and all the proper notifications to the state. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-17. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance amending ordinance 2019-08, establishing permitting requirements for nonprofit organizations and for other purposes.
Council, this was brought to our attention. Beyond Boundaries has a nonprofit coffee shop that you can get coffee and tea, and it's for donation. No, it's a nonprofit. And it dawned on us that we didn't have a proper procedure for having nonprofits. In particular, how do we do a fire inspection, which is required? So we created this amendment to ordinance 2019 that calls for this. It doesn't cost anything for the ordinance. It just allows us to ensure they are properly permitted, and then we will do the annual fire inspections to make sure they're all covered correctly. Any discussion?
Makes 100% sense to me. Make a motion.
It does. Any public comment to this ordinance? Seeing none, okay, so we got a motion on the first, and we have a motion second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubel?
Yes.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
Yes.
And Councilmember Brooke?
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-17 is approved. Council, there's not a definitive need to run this quicker. If you want to wait till next month, we can continue on, unless one of you want to waive it. Okay, we'll move forward to next month. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-18. If you'll read the title, please.
An ordinance amending ordinance 2024-03 to clarify access to water meter boxes, to establish ownership responsibilities for wastewater lines and for other purposes.
Council, this ordinance is, and Bruce can come up here and speak to this too if he needs to. This has been an issue. We've had people, I kid you not, who have parked their vehicles over top of meters or put whatever over top of meters, probably when we were reading them on, for sure. And now, if they do that, they could block the signal. So it's an issue that we've run into. So we wanted to put this into the ordinance that just state this: no person shall intentionally do this. And then also, there's been some questions at times about who owns wastewater line. There's not even definitive. If you look through, do some internet research, it could be the property line, it's to the main. This defines in the city of Ward who owns, just like water lines, who owns the wastewater lines. And if you'll see, if it goes on over a road, we'll take care of opening and closing the road and bill accordingly. This just clears up some issues we've had in the past.
So I have some questions
Sure.
about this one.
Bruce, you want to come forward?
The questions I have about this is how often is it the customers, something that the customer did that causes a sewer line or water line to break underneath a roadway?
Not very often.
Okay, so why are we
But it
gonna
happens.
charge this customer the price to repair the road if it has to be crossed to fix something that's not very often their fault?
This is true, but it just passed the cost on them. It's their water, it's their wastewater line from their house to the main.
But
And if the main is on the other side of the road, that's where the cost comes involved. Now, if we can get through,
the problem I'm having with this is usually if you have a problem with a sewer line, it's either something has run over it, busted it, or you have a root issue, or something to that effect. Or say you got a plumber out there cleaning out your line and he runs through the side of it, which that would fall on the plumber's insurance.
right.
Everything else, if you have a bed failure, if you've broken the sewer line under a road,
That'd be
it's
our job.
nothing that has to do with the citizen.
That'd be
And
our
there's probably
responsibility.
not gonna be roots underneath the road to cause that problem, so I don't see why we would charge a citizen to pay for a street repair if they have a failure under the road.
This was brought up in particular, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bruce, but a contractor who didn't properly protect an open sewer line while they were building and construction debris down in it, and blocked the other side, on the other side of the road. Totally their fault, not,
Well, I mean, I'm not opposed to the whole contractor thing, contractor makes a mistake and tears something up, then
but
by all
this is
rights.
where it's from, because the contractor tried to say, well, that's your line from the property line to the main. Well, not necessarily.
Well, and if you go to the state plumbing code, it defines public sewer as a common sewer directly controlled by the public authority. Key word there is common, so what is community is what we own. What is not community or what is not common is the responsibility of the homeowner.
So the city commonly owns the roadway.
True.
That's my only issue with this ordinance, is charging a citizen the cost of repairing a roadway if it has to be opened because of a sewer or water line break under the road that is most likely not going to be the cause of something that the citizen did, or a failure caused by the citizen.
Not necessarily.
I think.
And every instance would be, investigated. And if it's a road failure that's caused it, then yeah, it's on us.
But that's not what this ordinance is saying, though. It's saying it don't matter if it's on the line, person's line instead of the main line.
You don't think we have a little common sense in the city that if it's our responsibility?
Well, I don't think it's an issue.
understand that,
I don't
the
think it's an-
common sense part of it, but I mean, it says black and white that if it's opened up, that the citizen has to pay for the repairs.
I think it's not just, I don't think it's an issue of common sense. I think if we're going to say something, we need to put it in there, amend it and say, if it's a road caused by something in the roadways outside of the control of the homeowner.
Because it specifically says if a wastewater main is across any city street and any repair or replacement of the wastewater line caused the road to be dug up, the city will expose the wastewater pipe so the customer's plumber can make the necessary repairs. The city then will repair the street and invoice the customer for the material used.
No, easily, we put a line in there that says if it's determined it's city's responsibility for the break, that we will cover it.
Who's going to determine that?
Yeah, I think the whole point, what they're trying to get across, and thank you for doing this, it's way too broad. And yes, common sense may not be carried on for continuing administrations, and everyone's common sense is different. So I feel I agree with you. Like, I feel like that this is one of those things where it could very easily be passed along to a citizen and that it wouldn't be fair.
So, we have a situation where a sewer line is clogged near the main on the customer's line, and they have to go underneath the road to correct it. You think we are responsible for paying for all that repair to the road, digging up and paying the entire thing? They pay for the plumbing, for the sewer line, but we pay for everything else. Is that what is that the discussion?
So yes, it is kind of the discussion, because you bought your house where it lands. Did you look to see where the water main was prior, or the sewer main was prior to you buying it? Did you know that the main was on the other side of the road?
No, actually I do.
Well,
because it might as
the
well
general person, that's not something that they look for. I can't tell you where the sewer main runs in my house.
True.
I know where the clean out is, but I don't know where the main is. So I disagree with charging a citizen to repair the road when 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be something that they did that caused the failure for the road to be dug up. Unless it's by a contractor that they hired, which then it's covered by their insurance if they messed it up.
Well, council, if you show desire, that subparagraph 3, where it says the city will then repair the street and invoice the customer material used, city equipment usage and manpower costs will be responsibility of the city. That could be stricken or reworded to say that the city will be totally responsible for manpower, equipment, and material used to repair the problem underneath the road. But then it gets into who pays for the pipe underneath the road, that it's truly theirs.
I think we should just be clear of who, change it and be clear of who owns what.
Mm-hmm.
And that would help handle the contractor side of it, because, they fight us to the end saying, oh, it's y'all, and that's one of the biggest issues. But if you define who owns what, we can at least say, hey, we don't own this, you got to fix it for the contractors. Because really the biggest issue with that is contractors.
Bruce, what are some of the other, how is this worded in other cities? This has had to have been an issue somewhere else. Just curious.
There's some like this, there's some others, they'll do the repairs. Some won't do anything other than the cut itself. So it's kind of all over the place.
And it's across the board too. Some municipalities with their water systems, wastewater systems, will stop it at the property line, wherever the property line is, which is debatable. Is that right?
No, not really. But
Not really.
City has easement from middle of the road to like 15 feet or where it is.
Easement, but still the piping.
So now, technically, or not technically, if the city wants
Turn your
to
mic on,
press
please.
it, someone wants to press it, homeowner wants to press it, city has easement ownership from middle of the road to whatever it is to the pipe. Because some pipes are not in the middle of the road, some pipes are on the other side of the road from where the house is. So the city can be, has easement from the middle of the road to
I don't think
15
easement
I
doesn't
think
have
the
a,
easiest way to do this would be to the property line. The owner's responsible to the property line.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Well, see, the problem you run into is anything that's not common, we technically don't own. So if we work on it, we're spending funds that is going towards that homeowner, which we are not supposed to do. I mean,
We're not supposed
the
to
road's a
donate
different story.
manpower and equipment usage either, but it's in this ordinance. So.
Well, it makes sense.
Well, on the road side of it.
Yeah, because it's the road,
Yeah.
or repairing our road.
I mean, the road side of it's separate. I mean, just the water, wastewater line, you know, we're not supposed to fix that. But the road thing is, you know, that's different.
But you
Council-
That could go either
What is-
way.
What is a typical cost when you gotta tear the road up like that and cover it back up? What's that generally run? Just curious.
Depends how deep the
Honestly, I don't even know yet.
line
Depends on the
is.
depth. You know, if we do all the labor, it's minimal cost. You know, you're just paying for gravel and asphalt.
We could reword this if council desired. The line that says the city will then, let's see, we'll open it up. We'll dig the road up. City will expose the water pipe, wastewater pipe, so the customer's plumber can make a necessary repair. City will then repair the street at no cost to the homeowner. That puts the street repair on us, but not the pipe.
I'm fine with that.
That's what it should say. Talking about just the pipe underneath the street.
Just a second, yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to make a comment, come on up to the microphone. Introduce yourself.
I'm Stephen Ocker.
Yeah.
Are y'all talking about just the pipe underneath the street, or y'all talking about the pipe from the house all the way across the street?
They're responsible for that.
No, I'm asking, like, what are y'all talking about right now?
Pipe from the house.
Pipe from the house?
Right.
So y'all are talking about the street a lot, that's why I was asking.
Yeah, the service line from the home.
Okay.
Or the wastewater line. Okay, so the city will then prepare. So we strike it all out and say the city will then repair the street at no cost to the consumer.
Yeah, I think we should also put in something there that, as far as contractors go, when a subdivision is being developed, that any and all damages are at their cost, because they fight us on that.
We need to put that in the UDO.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can throw that into the UDO.
Did you know big trucks driving through there, you know, they smash lines? I mean,
It happens.
Well, you look at the
frequently.
Huntington where they bored under the road. You know, what have they tore up as far as road bed goes over there, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, what he's talking about, we've had subdivisions, everything's laid out, but we got big dump trucks that, or whatever, that back onto a yard and destroy or crush the pipe. Who's responsible?
Or the storm drain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with this, Bruce. You know,
Yeah.
it defines who's responsible for what. And that's really what this all was for. Because we had nothing, in this ordinance was defended upon on water lines. That was easy. Wastewater lines, because they cross streets, of course, wastewater lines do too, but wastewater lines cross streets, you can't get dicey on who owns what. This now defines that. So it now reads, the only thing we changed was the city will then repair the street at no cost to the consumer.
And, I mean, what do we put in there if it's no, you know, if, like he's saying, dump trucks run through there, you know, makes
we can
them
prove it-
liable for it. you
If
know?
we can prove damage, just like if we can prove damage on a drop inlet, the dump truck rolls over and breaks, we'll try to collect from them.
Bed failure type stuff like that, you know, if
Yeah.
it's proven that it's at no,
You could add.
they're not flushing diapers down and have a pipe failure under the road.
You could add to help what Bruce is telling us, establish neighborhoods, or establish something. Use the word established, already in place. Roadways or whatever.
Well, I know that in subdivisions, if we have crushing, we go after the contractor.
Are you talking about like maybe the subdivisions that aren't finished and people
Right.
have already started moving in and
Right.
then? Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's really something that should be in like the subdivision regs or UDO.
The UDO, we'll put that in UDO.
Low weight road marked or something, posted low weight roads or something.
I don't know about all that, but you know, they pull up onto the yard, and that's where the problem is.
Concrete
usually.
truck,
Right.
pull up in the yard, bust a bunch of lines.
Yep. Council, okay, on the amended ordinance 2024-18, any further discussion? Any further discussion from the public? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to put 2024-18 on its first reading.
Motion.
We have a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Brooke.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-18 has been approved on its first reading. Council, since we've had a lot of discussion on this, if you don't mind, let's just carry this forward to next month for its second reading. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-19. Read the title, please.
An ordinance prohibiting camping in public places, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
Council, this is from what Mr. Brooke had asked for last month about this, and there was a Supreme Court ruling on this. This ordinance I borrowed, if you will, from Jacksonville, who's passed this same ordinance. I'll open the floor for discussion.
I have a question about sleeping.
Sure.
How to say this? I enjoy going to the park, watching the lake, and falling asleep in my car. It's peaceful. So am I going to get ticketed for sleeping in my car at the public park?
I don't think so. It doesn't say anything about that on here, does it?
I thought it did.
Not really.
Well, it says sleeping.
Well, you got sleeping.
Vehicles. No, I thought I read sleeping in vehicles.
I mean, falling asleep on a Sunday afternoon watching the ducks,
Yeah.
that's kind of normal, and I don't think anything. But if you're changing into your pajamas and sleeping in the back seat, that might be a different story. If you don't change.
Well, again, if we leave things to common sense, everybody's different.
Well, and that's why our police department has that ability to make decisions, discretion. Thank you.
And also, if it's a city park or pond, wherever it is, city owned, then normally they got hours that the park closes or whatnot. So if they're after hours, then of course they're gonna ask you to leave.
Well, I might want to go watch, telling my age, submarine races with my husband. I said might.
Okay, any further discussion on this ordinance? Any public discussion? Entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2024-19 on its first reading.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel.
Yes.
Council, because of the nature of this, I'd entertain a motion to waive the second and third reading.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second to waive. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I'd entertain a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-19.
Motion to adopt.
We have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Council, for emergency clause, I'd entertain a motion to.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second for emergency clause. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-19 has been approved with emergency clause and going into effect immediately. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2024-20. Would you read the title, please?
An ordinance providing for the placement of speed humps and for other purposes.
Council, when we had a public hearing about the Dollar General Market previous and this last time, and we had a public hearing about the potential Willow Lake area, speed bumps were brought up several times. Speed bumps in my administration have been brought up several times, and each time I've talked to individuals about it. I'm not a fan of speed bumps, but I also understand that there may be a necessity if the neighborhood really wants one. Just a couple people coming forward to the mayor and say we want a speed bump and then no putting one out is not a good idea. However, we don't have a procedure. So what this does is establish a procedure for requesting speed humps, not bumps, humps. There's a difference in your neighborhood. And I tailored this off other cities who have done this. And it gives the citizen involvement and our neighbors' involvement. They're brought before the council, brought before the city does an investigation, and then it's brought before the council, and ultimately it's the council's responsibility to make that decision. Any discussion? Any public discussion?
I think it's a great idea because you don't, that way it like requires everyone to agree on it and it's not just one person. It's in front of their house or whatever.
75%, yes.
Yeah,
And then there's a
I
form
think
that we
that's-
provide, an application process and a form that we provide, so.
And it also takes it off of like one person deciding, no, you can't have one or no, you don't need one.
Correct. It brings it in true transparency. Everybody in the neighborhood will know about it. And, the city will work it up. We'll do traffic studies on it, and then we'll present it to the council, and council responsibility.
Question I have is on, if there's one road going to a subdivision, but the people on the road that's going, just use example, Willow Lake, for example,
Sure.
and you got Helen Street going directly into there. If the residents on Helen Street don't want the speed bumps for some reason, but Willow Lake does, who is the Singers going to be
It's on that street.
on
It'll
Helen
be-
Street?
Yeah, on Helen. It'll be on that street. Those residents live on that street.
All right.
It's on their street. It's their responsibility.
Well, that's-
So it's not the subdivision, it's the street.
Correct.
I have a question. I see there's warning signs with flashing lights.
Sure.
Is there anything in here about painting the actual speed bump so it's visible?
They come, these are commercials. We're not going
Not
to
gonna be
build them.
laid,
No,
it's gonna be,
we'll buy commercial ones.
okay.
And there's humps, not bumps.
That's right. Don't want no bumps, we want humps. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion for the first reading of ordinance 2024-20.
Motion.
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes,
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rupel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-20 has been approved by its first reading. Council, I'd like to move this forward to next month and see if there's any additional public input on this before we move forward. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-36. Would you read the title, please?
A resolution adopting a limb pickup yard waste policy for the city of Ward residents and for other purposes.
Council, as you drive around a lot lately, there seems to be a lot of people who have yard waste outside, and we don't have the ability, we've never had the ability to pick up yard waste. BB has an incinerator. I had contacted them about maybe contracting with them to use it, and apparently that's not possible. So there's other ways to do it. The state law changed a few years ago to allow cities to do this and designate a burn area. Prior to that, we couldn't pick up limbs technically and go move them somewhere and burn. People could burn all day long, but we couldn't. laws change allow for that. I think this is a first step of maybe later on we get a more formal program going. I mean, maybe get some wood chippers or some other incinerator that you can buy through grants through the FDA, not FDA, but the EPA. But this allows us to start quarterly picking up limbs.
I am so for this. I make a motion, we accept it.
Well, let's do this.
Okay.
Hang on. Let's open it for discussion.
So the only issue I have with this is I'm afraid with the schedule that we have on here as far as the months,
Yeah.
is that what this is gonna cause with the biodegradable bags and all of that stuff. We got February, May, July, and October. So we're looking at mowing seasons and everything between May and October. For the 3 months in between those, we're gonna have bags, biodegradable lawn clippings piled up at the end of everybody's road, waiting for somebody to come pick them up, and then they're gonna bust, and then nobody's gonna pick them up because it's just gonna be an eyesore everywhere. It's gonna be a mess. That's the only issue I have with this, is the scheduling of it.
Well, we got to start somewhere.
I was gonna say, now I think what's happening though is they're out there anyway.
Right.
My
But
thought
maybe,
is, go ahead, Stacy. My thought is we need to have like a set time they can put it out there, right? And I know we got Wednesdays here, but I think Tuesday would be better, and that way they can set it out there over the weekend prior to, not before, so we don't have that issue there where stuff's strolled out everywhere.
I mean, I get limbs and stuff, that's a little bit different, you know, you got a pile of limbs sitting out there waiting, you know, whatever, but biodegradable bags and you got 37 of them piled up out there and they're all falling apart, I just see an issue with that.
So would your suggestion be, if we do it on Tuesday, that they can place it out there 4 days prior, which would be Saturday?
Yeah.
That's 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 days.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. Give them the weekend.
Prior to that, they can keep it in their backyard, I guess.
Yeah, because probably what kind of what we're thinking is, you know, if it's a Tuesday, we'd probably go out Monday and, you know, get a list of all the sites.
Survey.
Then start picking them up that same day, so that we're not getting people putting stuff out there, you know, a day or two, you know, after Wednesday, Thursday, and then calling and telling us that, hey, it's been out there when it wasn't.
We have that problem when we do storm pickup after storm. Well,
Oh, absolutely.
you know, that we'll pick everything up and somebody will call and say, I've had it out there for 2 weeks. And we just drove by there and it wasn't there, but, and then this is I think I wrote this. Oh, the mayor and some designated agents are hereby authorized to direct and place and make minor changes as deemed necessary without further council approval. So in other words, as we move forward, we can make some modifications to this without having to come.
So my question, another question I have is, if we have this assigned burned area,
Yeah.
is it possible to allow the bags to be taken over there by the citizen? Or, I mean, that causes, I mean, you're gonna wind up with a couch sitting out there, I'm
That's
sure.
correct.
but,
That's exactly right. If we had a manned station, yeah, different story. We do not. You're gonna end up with couches and trash and garbage and everything else. No, sir.
Not unless it was just manned for a single day, you know.
Right, right.
Like on Saturdays or whatever, you know, you can
Hey,
take
Bruce,
your-
without a wood chipper or something like that, how are you planning to move this stuff back and forth?
Yeah, that's, so what we need is a grappling truck, which we don't have. That would make it a one-person job, but currently they have to load up the track hoe, drive it around on a trailer. Somebody's got a dump truck, so 2 people, you gotta unload the track hoe, pick it up, put it in the dump truck, load it back up, move to the next spot.
Depending on the pile, of course.
Yeah, depending on the pile. Small enough pile, just pick it up. So that in itself would, you know, is labor intensive. So eventually, if we, you know, keep moving, if we move forward with this and keep going forward, we really need to invest in a grappling truck.
We would probably come back to council and ask for,
What's that, Rob?
Vacuum truck?
Yeah. like BB has a grappling truck, right? So they just, they just pick it up, put it in the truck, and
Right.
one person job.
It's a start. It's something, it's a service we have not been providing, and it's something we need to do. We'll modify it as we change. Any further discussion?
Does the city have a wood chipper?
No.
It died?
There used to be a wood chipper. I don't know if it hasn't operated since I've been here. I don't even know if it's still over there. So I don't.
It was, back in the day, it was horrible then.
Yeah.
It was no. We need to look at buying some things like that, but again, getting started. Because right now, if you go down, especially in Deerfield area, there's blooms on about every other house, seems to be.
My whole yard. I've been cutting trees since I got unemployed. I got good with a
Which is why
chainsaw.
she's really enthusiastic about this resolution.
Yes.
I'll second Robin's motion from earlier.
Okay, all right, motion is with the corrections, we're gonna go to Tuesday and placed out, no earlier than 3 days prior to the designated day. And of course, we'll advertise these days and get them out through our Facebook postings, our website, and our text messaging that people can sign up for. Okay, a motion and second?
I think signs probably help out with that too.
Oh, yeah, we can do some sign, absolutely, we can do some yard signs that we can, yard waste pickup next week, or something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Section 2, paragraph A, you left the no longer than.
Yeah, it's something that, we'll address that.
Later.
Right. Yeah, we built this thing, we weren't quite sure, there's some cities do 2 foot, 3 foot. I know Cabot does, I think, 3 foot, and if it's longer than that, they put a note on it, and they don't pick it up unless you cut it.
Cabot does 6 foot.
Is 6 foot?
I just cut a whole bunch when I was down there working on some things, yeah.
Okay. But I know if it's longer than that, whatever there is, they will not pick it up. I ran into that when I was cleaning my mother's place up years ago. But anyway, all right, so we have motion and we have a second. Any further discussion, any citizen discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
and Councilmember McMinn.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-36 is approved. I will tell you that we'll have a pickup prior to October. With this approval, we'll schedule one out, get it advertised, and go out and get as much as we can right, now to get off the yards. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-37. Read the title, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and/or city clerk of the city of Ward to make application to Arkansas Department of Parks and Tourism for assistance to develop recreational facilities for the city for the project.
It's blank because we don't know what project. Council members who attended the public hearing, we heard a lot of discussion about Willow Lake. We have presented to a project to do Willow Lake and to do a parking area and a dock at Willow Lake. An alternative we addressed was a possibility of I thought I had these all in here. I do not. A alternate is at Busby Lake for a parking area and a fishing dock. About $58,000 on our part. If we got the grant for Willow Lake, about 3 times about $150,000 for Busby Lake, or nothing. We could also discuss an alternative, maybe look at, we have till August 30th to get this in, by the way, so it's a decision we need to make tonight. We could also talk about trying to put a plan in or a project in to pave the current park's parking lot. No, at the sports complex. And I don't know what the cost of that would be, but that would be an alternative to look at. I will tell you that Busby Lake needs some shoreline work. And so I'm not, and speaking, and Michelle, if you can come forward, please. Michelle's our Parks and Recreation Director. You and I have discussed, Busby's got some shoreline issues that we could really probably work on
Needs to be addressed
beforehand.
first.
It does. Willow Lake, although that's a good project, has got some issues out there that, yeah, we need to work on too, and maybe do some different things out there, not so drastic as a parking lot and a fishing dock at this time, maybe down the road sometime. But we do have a gravel parking lot into the sports complex that we constantly have to put gravel in every year, it seems like, before 4th of July, to smooth it out. So, council, I'll open the floor for discussion, and we're going to open the floor up for discussion.
Yeah, I think that it's obvious that the citizens in the Willow area do not want it. I understand that. I wouldn't want it in my backyard. And they have some legitimate concerns, and I wouldn't be supportive of it, I don't think. Busby really needs the improvements, I think. I understand what you're saying with the other park. That might be something to look at in a different way maybe, but I just feel like Busby, we have it, we need to maintain it. And right now, it really isn't conducive to parking very well. I mean, pulling in there more than 1 or 2 cars, and any trouble meeting one another, and the phone line pedestal and everything else gets backed into, and
Yes.
things like that. And if the
We try to get that phone pedestal moved.
and that's, that could happen. That's not that hard to move. But if the shoreline needs improved, we ought to just do one big job there. If it was me, that's what I would.
I'm curious about the south end of Busby. How far does the city own?
There's not a lot in that little corner back there.
Because that could really use some cleanup
Yeah,
where
it is.
people can get around over there.
It's shallow. We've tried to start working on some of that vegetation on that end. I don't know exactly where our boundary is, but and that's kind of the problem with Busby. I mean, we only have this much, period. That's not getting any bigger. It's been a staple. It's been something that's eroding away quicker than when I got on. It was,
Right.
It's just one of those, it's not a
Does
quick, easy fix, but it needs.
Does the city own any property that we could develop a lake in a park area? Or is there anything out there that we could possibly purchase?
Yeah, hopefully.
We're going to discuss something later on in tonight's
Yeah,
meeting.
and that's what, obviously I feel the same way for Willow Lake. It's not ideal. It's not an ideal location. Hindsight's 20/20. If we go back and change that a little bit, I would hope somebody would have. It's not an ideal. It's a beautiful place, beautiful lake. I wish the entire community could enjoy it, but it is in a rough, it's not in an ideal location.
The question I have is, do we have to say, okay, Busby or the ballparks?
No,
or can
sir,
it
you
be,
don't. No.
we can decide?
You can say
we
that
will
we're not
all
going
of it.
to put in for this project at all, and we just
Yeah.
won't put in for this grant.
Well, what I'm saying is, are we restricted that it has to be at one location that we put this in for?
Yes, you're going to have to for
We
the
can't
grant.
split it for doing this at Busby and this at the ball field.
No, you're limited on funds anyway. We're getting up there on funds. If we did Busby, it's $158,000 on our part.
Well, can we suggest a limit of the funds?
Well, then
And let y'all-
Then you live with what are we talking about though?
Well, if she wants to do something on the shoreline, we say, okay, we will put forth $60,000, so write your grant up to how much ever.
You're not going to get a grant for shoreline improvements. You're going to get a grant for facilities, for especially ADA type facilities, parking lots to support that.
Walking trails?
Walking trails.
We have
We have different means for walking trails.
We have another one we're hoping we can present.
Yes, next month or so, but these will come back around. These grants come back around. And even at that, even if we put in for a grant, and there's no guarantee we'll get it. In fact, as we put in for this, I don't remember what we got for last year and got turned down.
Yeah, last year was pickleball court.
Right,
basketball court.
got turned down for that, so. I mean, it's a,
Sorry. Okay, so Busby, let's go back to that. Like kind of what you said, it's a really small space. I know a lot of people are there. We don't want to increase the parking there because we don't really want to increase the amount of people that are there because it's a bad spot anyway. I mean, if we're kind of moving everything over either to the ballpark, like, yeah, I agree with you, like those, they need to be blacktopped or something. That would
And
eliminate a lot.
Kind of where all that kind of came about is, you know, with our buddy ball and things. I mean, it's already been something we've talked about as far as we need more. We have 2 concrete, you know, 1 pad for 2 handicap parking. That's it. So it's, you know, we're trying to grow, and that's one thing that's going to have to go with it, because we do get a lot of elderly grandparents coming to watch games. I mean, you name it, it's it would help. It would help, obviously, for
I think
some of those.
if we put a grant proposal in to pave the sports complex parking lot, that benefits a lot of people, and that benefits us. 4th of July celebration, Buddy Ball, and the other sports complexes, things we do out there.
So are we still able to do the improvements at the park that aren't a part of the parking situation, Busby?
Yes, Busby, we're working on regardless. I mean, it just has to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm still working on finding material for Shoreline, and it's just gonna have to be something. I mean, it's something.
Yeah.
So it may not be the big engineer type project that just comes in and makes everything perfect right away, but it's something I've already started on.
Right.
I mean, I knew the tables we have, the concrete, you know, to move everything, it just not my favorite part of the job. It doesn't happen right away. I'm ready for it like yesterday, but it is something we've been discussing already, so definitely.
Mike? Okay. Pardon me? I thought, well, you look like you had something to say, Rob. I figured you had something to say. Any further discussion? I mean, what's the council want to do? I'll tell you from our standpoint. And I think we're on the same page. I'd like to see us try to go in and get the parking lot paved in the sports complex. Whether we can do that, we got 9 days starting tomorrow to get it done up by the engineer and get it to CPD to work up the grant. They are aware that we are in this kind of limbo mode right now, so.
What do you want to do?
You know,
I'll make a
thinking
motion
of
that we-
everybody, I think the sports complex at this time would be the best, because it has events, Busby needs to be worked on, you know, more than, we need parking, don't get me wrong, but we need to make sure the bones are still there and strong before we do much more.
Well, we talked about, we don't need to put a parking lot in right now if we don't have a shoreline that's staying.
Motion to do the parking at the ball field.
Second.
Any public comment? State your name, please.
Hello again, Michael Young. Mr. Hall, I believe, Mr. Rubel, and you, Mayor, I just want to say thank you for actually, I sent you a long email, so of course I didn't have time to talk about all that last week, but I do appreciate your consideration. I do appreciate you backburnering Willow Lake, and I didn't even think of paving, but yes, I don't know, a couple of years ago we went to a circus out there, and it was a circus. Outside
in the rain.
Yes, exactly. So a solid surface out there is a great idea. So, but anyway, thank y'all for listening to the community.
And we're probably going to have more activity out there because we're in the process of building an RC track.
Oh,
the only RC track in the area.
Speaking of which, is it okay? I know we can't have boats on Willow Lake. Is it okay to have a remote control boat on Willow Lake? Talking small.
I got to look at the ordinance, okay?
Okay.
We're not going to do that. I'll look into it, okay?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, somebody had one out there the other day that looks super cool, and I'm willing to purchase one if it's not illegal.
I don't, off the top of my head, I don't think it'd be a problem. You know, there might be somebody, it's a noise thing, I don't know. But we'll look at it.
Perfect. Thank y'all so much.
Any other discussion? Well, yes, sir. State your name again.
Stephen Ocker. I just had a quick question. If y'all do decide to do the Willow Lake against what we all want, are we stuck with that? Or is there like a vote of no confidence we can do, or is there another way around it? Or are we stuck with whatever you guys vote for?
Well, let's just put it this way, we're not doing it right now, so that's off the table
Okay.
right now.
As long as it's off the table.
It's off the table. Yes, sir, state your
Hello.
name.
My name's Charles Robertson. I live on Willow Lake.
Sure.
I want to say thanks for what y'all are doing, you know, directing it elsewhere. City council people that weren't here at our last meeting, that thing, the shoreline to my 13-year-old daughter's windows is 91 feet. So, you know, there's 30 feet of real estate between the water and the curb to play with. It's 91 feet to my daughter's windows at 1 a.m. in the morning. So
Right.
I appreciate y'all and everything. I mean, you talked after the meeting.
We did.
So I appreciate it, and I thank y'all for what y'all are doing.
And on that reminder, Michelle and I and a couple others walked the shoreline the other day to get a better feel of the entire shoreline. And I told you, those that attended the public hearing, that, yeah, you're right, we had not been keeping that mode as well as we should. And we were doing better, we'll continue doing better. And if we don't, bring it to our attention, bring it to my attention. Each of you have my contact information, I know this for a fact. So, anyway, all right, council, we have a motion, and I think we have a second, right? We have a motion to second to submit an application to outdoor recreation matching grant to pave the parking lot in the sports complex. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
and Councilmember Hefner.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-37 is passed. Thank you, council. And for those of you who came for that, stick around. There's more on the agenda.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-38. Read that title, please.
A resolution accepting Moyer Excavating and Trucking as the low bidder for the demolition of city-owned property and authorizing the mayor and/or city clerk to sign appropriate documents for the project.
Council, as you're aware of, we put out an RPP for demolition. They came back, they're all listed there, and Moyer was the low bidder.
Motion accept.
We have motion second. We have a second?
Second.
Any public discussion, any further discussion? Yes, sir.
The bids that you submitted, or the bids that came back, there's some discrepancies on the amounts that was on the thing.
Okay.
On the last two.
Yes, that didn't add up, does it?
No, they don't.
And it's their, I talked to them today. It's their bid. That's how they did. It was 49,000 change.
Yeah, and the other one was
But
like 50-something thousand.
he said, he said, well, that was a discount. I said, well, you didn't say that. Regardless, it was not the low bid.
Right.
But yeah,
You still had three bids, that's fine, I'm just saying there was some discrepancies.
There's a description on that one too. So, anyway, Moyer Excavating and Trucking, it was a low bidder. And we have a motion with a second?
I seconded.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
and Councilmember Brooke.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-38 has been approved. Thank you, council.
What is the timeline?
First of all, we got to send out approval from you all, and then they'll send us a contract in.
Okay.
So you're authorizing me to sign a contract, and we'll have a time period then. I don't think it'll take much. All right, next on the agenda is Resolution 2024-39. Read title, please.
A resolution accepting financial assistance from the Arkansas National Resources Commission and authorizing the mayor and/or city clerk to sign the appropriate documents needed to finalize the loan.
Council, if you remember, this is the project we have going to remove the remaining homes off of vacuum. We've already got a $500,000 grant from AEDC for this project. ANRC has come back with a $791,000 loan for this project. I need authorization through this resolution to sign the acceptance of the loan, and then we get to start doing the paperwork to finalize and close it. We have a year to actually close the loan, and there's some issues that we talk about as we come back to the council on potential rate hikes to support this.
You were trying to get us lynched.
No, sir. We are moving forward with trying to improve our sewer system.
52 homes in one
Apartment complex
versus 2,837 as of this afternoon's sewer accounts, and raising everyone's rates approximately 18% for 52 homes in one apartment complex.
It's to spread the cost of doing business across the board. We've already got the $500,000 from the AEDC.
When I was out getting signatures to run again, this was the only issue they brought up. And everybody I talked to said, we got to do something about the water rates. And I got to tell you, I'm looking at our balance sheet, and I know we have to maintain a certain amount of funds, but the balance sheet shows we have $5,200,000, so why are we borrowing $700,000?
That includes assets.
No.
That's not a true balance sheet in terms of cash available.
Okay, I see 4.54 in assets.
Assets, yes, that's the
Yes,
assets.
no, this is current checking account, cash and checking, 250,000, restricted cash and checking, 820,000, revenue funds, $2 million. There is a depreciation funds in there, so there is some of that. Yeah, you're right to see that. But it's still over $3 million. Right? Okay. So we're borrowing 700,000 when we have 3 million. And then we're gonna pay, by the time we pay out the loan in 20 years, we're gonna pay another $400,000 or $500,000 in interest.
This makes about as much sense to me as selling your car for gas money. You're gonna raise everybody's by 18%. It says 15%, but there's already, what was it? The 3% projected increase already?
Right.
So essentially 18% for every household to remove 52 houses in one apartment complex for 20 years.
To remove the remaining off of the vacuum system, which
This
is
makes zero
extremely
sense.
expensive to maintain.
So what is the cost of what is our cost savings here?
You get everybody off the vacuum, which fails, and Bruce can come and talk about it, or Brian can come talk about it, either one.
AEDC awarded us $500,000.
Yes.
And
Grant.
so you then want a loan of $791. I think they're saying, why don't we just take the $500,000 and pay the $700?
Okay, let me point out one thing to you. We can approve tonight the loan acceptance. We do not have to accept it at closing if we come up with alternative funding or alternative ways to pay for this. At any time before closing, and this is done fairly routinely with AEDC monies, the community will say, no, we don't want to do that, or we want to modify it. The only caveat I have to say to that is I'm not sure what AEDC, who gave us the $500,000, because part of that project application was that we were going forward to Arkansas Natural Resources for a loan or for additional funding from them. I don't know if it's contingent upon that or not. We may have to, AEDC may say, well, if you're not going to use their funding, we're going to pull our funding. I don't know that. I do know that, in my opinion, we need to accept this loan at this point, but doesn't mean that we are locked into it and we can explore other means of paying for this.
Can this be put on the ballot for the?
Pardon me?
Can this be put on the ballot for citizens to decide?
Not before November, no, sir. No, we're past that time period.
I guess my issue is that we already have a $10 million worth of bonds that we're having to pay. And it doesn't seem legit, it doesn't seem appropriate for us to keep going in debt. And I mean, I've never been one to, I don't believe in borrowing when I've got the funds to pay for something. That's why I don't like debt, so.
This gives us the options. again, if we, and I'm going to recommend that we approve this tonight, allow me to sign documents going forward. We don't have to accept the money at the end of the day, but we are not, I think, and it gives us the opportunity to question AEDC on if we do not take this money, we're going to use in-house money, is this going to jeopardize their grant to us? Probably won't, but we have to ask that question.
You say you got up to a year before you have to close?
Yeah, we have a year to close.
And before closing, it'll come back up
Oh,
to the
absolutely.
council?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this not.
I'm not, and please hear me, I believe it's good to get it done. I'm not saying don't do it. And I really think, I don't want us to lose that 500,000 at all. But I would think that they wouldn't care where the other funds came from.
Well, I don't know that for sure, and that's why I don't want to risk not approving this tonight, and then if we'd approved it and talked to them and maybe, how we got to get through the situation and, about using our funds to do this. We're setting bad precedents if we just get rid of this tonight. We fought hard for this, and you didn't know when you put the application into ANRC whether it's going to be a low interest loan or a grant or principal only, things like that. They have multiple different things. I will tell you that routinely, ANRD 2 or 3 years down the road will forgive the loan. I can't guarantee that'll happen, but they do that sometimes.
Well, I am 100% not okay with a 15% increase on anybody's sewer bill.
Well, we hope we don't do a 15% increase, but that gives us
Hopes and
time
dreams
to.
are awesome, but I am 100%.
I'm not supportive of increasing it at all. I mean, we're already, like I said, that's a major complaint. And that's why we formed the Water Commission. We have a problem, we know we have a problem. And,
Well, we formed the Water Commission because state law said to.
I'm corrected. I thought we did because we had a problem.
No. But state law through the Act 605 requires to.
I don't have a problem with you doing it as long as it has to come back to us for approval.
I cannot raise rates at all arbitrarily across the board.
That's not what I'm talking about.
And I can't accept the funds without your approval. I can accept the loan as it is with your approval, but we won't go to the closing to actually get the funds until without your approval. It just won't happen. Can't happen. Because you will know what the rates will be before you accept the closing. And at any given time, we'll start working on studying with finance office to see what, if we pulled $791,000 out of reserves, we'll get with our CPA and how does that, we also got to worry about how does that affect our debt service, our debt ratio.
Yeah, income to debt ratio.
We get a debt ratio.
I understood that. That's one of the things I know.
Yeah, when we get a debt ratio that's upside down, then USDA can come back in and call the loan out that 40-year loan for the sewer plant. We have to keep a proper debt ratio. So all these factors go into it, but we can't even get in that discussion without at least accepting the loan as it is right now. It's almost like if you put it out, you accept a loan to buy a house, and then in the process before you actually close, you figure out, well, I can put more money down. Let's, do something else. Same kind of difference. Any more discussion? Any public discussion? Yes, sir, come on up. And state your name.
Don Waymack, Citizen Award. You were going to ask the water chief about something possibly breaking, and my next question is, what is the purpose of the loan?
The purpose of the loan, coupled with $500,000 from ADC, is to remove the remaining houses off the vacuum system and shut down the vacuum station that's over off of Lily Ann, that area, which is a constant problem. What's that, 40 horsepower pumps over there? In any case, the citizens that live over there, granted that subdivision was built after the lift station was there, but there's a lot of issues with the smell. And when these vacuum system, when it doesn't suck, which is what it is, vacuum, it's bad, and it's very time-consuming and manpower-intensive.
It's very labor-intensive, and it's a centralized unit, so like if that goes down, you know, the remaining 63 homes or 63 people tied to it go down as well,
Right.
so.
We have moved a bunch of houses, 19 houses off of one, or 21 houses off of one,
19 and 33, we did all the easy ones first,
right?
and then these are the remaining spread out ones, which is why the cost is so high, because it covers such a broad area.
Bruce, can you tell us how much it costs a month to run these houses on this vacuum system?
I couldn't. It varies. You know, when it goes down, we have to spend a lot of time on it. That's where a lot of your money's spent, but we have good months and bad months. Another big cost is, you know, the electricity cost over there, which is a lot better than it used to be, because all the homes we did take off, you know, it doesn't run as much, but it does use a lot of electricity at that station as well. So if we could cut it out, it'd be a big savings. It is a big cost, but like I said, the ones that are left are all the ones that are spread out. We did all the easy ones first.
This resolution allows us to sign for the accepting the financial assistance, not for closing on the loan.
Yeah. The other issue is you got to think about ADEQ, because these pits overflow, goo gets on the ground, right? And, you know, there's always that pressure there. They could come in at any moment and, you know, put us under a consent order and say you have to replace it, you know, just like they did with the wastewater treatment plant. So we're trying to stay ahead of that curve if we can.
Trying to modernize our sewer system.
You think you could come up with a cost so we'd have that on hand, an idea of what it?
Yeah, I mean, I get you the electric cost, and I could go back and find some different months, some good months and some bad months, and
For the man-hour cost
yeah,
and material that
I
we
could,
better
I could,
replace.
I could probably find enough info to put something together.
Any further discussion? All right, I entertain a motion to put resolution 2024-39 on the, for approval.
Make a motion.
We have a second? So this is going to die for lack of a second, which means I can't accept this loan. What do I tell ADC?
I second it. I disagree with the loan, but I am concerned about losing the 500.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman,
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
No.
Councilmember Brooke,
No.
Councilmember Rubel.
I'm going to vote yes, but I also strongly oppose this loan.
I understand. And like I said, this doesn't get the loan, just accepts the financial assistance that has been offered to the city. Resolution 2024-39 is passed. I'll sign the paperwork and get it into them, and we'll start moving forward. And we will, council, look at alternative funding and get back to you. I mean, this is a process that doesn't have to be done right away, but we'll have additional information for you next month on alternatives that we're looking at. Okay. Resolution 2024-40. Read title, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to expend appropriated funds to cover construction cost shortfalls of the new Lonoke County Consolidated 911 Communications Center.
Council, this is part of doing business and consolidation. We had budgeted $75,000 for possible, and they came up.
My only question on this is, I get it, but how do you underbid a place for $1.8 million? It was a already standing building.
This is for the inside. This is for the build-out, not for the building. This is for the build-out.
I understand, but we're talking $1.8 million that they missed.
Well, they missed. This is because of build-out to this. this consolidation. Had we not been consolidating, this wouldn't come up, but this is cost of, and again, this is a state mandate that we consolidate these PSAPs.
And the parking lot probably was $1 million by itself.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous
Close,
what
yeah.
costs are anymore.
I mean, we budgeted for it. I think
We did.
I'd make a motion.
I just want to make sure, and I put it as a resolution to make sure we all understand. Okay, any further discussion?
I'll vote yes if they give me a job.
I don't know about all that. That has nothing to do with the resolution. Any public discussion? Okay, resolution 2024-40, I entertain a motion to approve.
Motion.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chapman?
Yes.
Councilmember McMahon?
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner?
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke?
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel?
Yes.
And Councilmember Hall.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-40 is approved. Thank you. Next on the agenda is resolution 2024-41. Read the title, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and/or city clerk of the city of Ward to enter into a contract to purchase 4 wastewater pumps for various wastewater lift stations.
And Bruce stepped out.
My question on this is, where are we getting these pumps? This seems like every other month we're approving the purchase of a wastewater pump.
There's Bruce. I don't think it's every other month, but it's occasionally.
It's pretty regular.
And they just have to be replaced. Bruce, come on forward, sir.
On the pumps. Yes, we got 4 here. 2 of them are at Cedar Creek, and the 2 pumps at Cedar Creek can no longer support the gallons per minute and the head pressure that is needed at that location, and so they have to be replaced. And the one for Sweetwater, we believe was hit by lightning, which is why we're replacing that one.
And we are going to try to make a claim on that if we can properly prove that.
Yeah. And then the one at Bryant, there was just an issue with the pump, short the ground or something, so we have it sent off, seeing if they can, same company can repair it.
Are any of these pumps that we'd be pulling out salvageable, that we could pull them out, have them, fixed up and put them on the shelf for backups?
The only one is the one that was at Bryant, the 15, that we're looking to get repaired.
Okay.
What about the 2 that are not pumping sufficiently amounts? Could they not be used in a smaller area? Maintained for that?
No, I mean, the 10 that was there, or that we had in over there, the one is going to be used elsewhere.
My question was what is going on with it seems like we're always in there replacing pumps. How many pumps do we have in the city that we need to replace? Is there a bunch of them that we need to be thinking about that need to be replaced?
No, I mean,
or what's going on?
So we started here last few years. We've replaced several because the system was in pretty poor health.
And we also made sure there was 2 pumps in every hole that hadn't been done.
Right. And so what we're seeing now is some of the old stuff that has been in there for a very long time failing. So.
How many do we have in the city?
Yeah, it's pump-wise, we're mid-40s, so there's 20, 26, 27, if you count the small ones.
In each lift station, about 52 pumps.
Yeah. We do have a lot of lift stations compared to other cities, some of which are even larger than us, and that just comes down to elevation and the way subdivisions are developed, and if it's not feasible for gravity to go to another one, then you got to put in a lift station. So we have
is there a better pump that we need to be purchasing to keep these from going down as often?
Well, these aren't that's what these are. That's what we've been buying. These pumps aren't the issue here. It's all the old hydromatics and stuff like that from, years past.
We're putting in the better pumps now.
So,
Yeah.
two of them, there's not really anything wrong, they're just not strong enough. One of them got hit by lightning. That one needs to be replaced. But the other two, they can be moved elsewhere because they work, right?
Well,
It's not big enough.
yeah, you can't always move stuff because you have to have a pump that's appropriately sized based off the head pressure and the gallons per minute. So some stations are interchangeable. Cedar Creek is one of the one stations that's not really interchangeable because the head pressure demand is so high there. It doesn't really interchange with any other station. The only other station we have with that high of head pressure is Morrison, which requires a lot higher GPM pump.
One thing she's asking though, Bruce, is can you not switch them out to a lift station that don't require so much head pressure, since they are still operational, just not that high head pressure? That's the thing is what she's asking.
Like, is that gonna be held in a reserve somewhere where it can be used? If
Yeah, I mean,
We can look at it, yes.
Yeah, any usable pump, we keep, right? I mean, we don't just throw them away. Every usable working pump is kept, and that way, if we do have a situation we need to put it in, we will.
So how many old pumps do we have left in the city?
I'd have to go back and look and get you the age on some of them. There's
How old are the two that were not strong enough?
I think Cedar Creek was originally like 08. And your life expectancy of the pump is, it depends on the pump, but 10 years is really good. So it's been around since 08 and it's 2024.
Mayor, is there something that we can do to make this to where, I mean, obviously, we're gonna be replacing pumps all the time.
It's just a operational, and that's why we have a depreciation fund by law. And so we use this depreciation fund is used for replacing worn out and broken parts.
You got maintenance records on those pumps, Bruce?
As best as we can.
Yeah, I mean,
previously there wasn't a lot of maintenance records.
I mean, there's some info. I don't know how much is out there. There's probably some stuff missing, but there's.
Well, can you go back to at least 5 years?
Yeah, I could see what I could find. Well, note though that our pumps are checked daily too.
I mean, but these are electric pumps, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, brushless or, the regular old electric pump, it just keeps on doing its thing when there's electric power to it. Probably have a float system or something to that effect, right?
Yes.
Right.
So there's really not a whole lot of maintenance to this pump.
No, not unless, if you get the one and it's, struggling or it's got high amps or something, you may need to pull it and check.
Or it gets clogged up with debris.
Don't got any debris in it or anything like that.
People flush.
But I see
all
city
kinds.
vehicles at these lift stations all the time, so I mean, that's not a question to me.
Well, they check them every day, like I said.
Well, there's alarms and stuff too, like there's like a seal fail alarm or whatever that lets us know that there's water internally where it's not supposed to be, things of that nature.
We are working processes and working toward getting SCADA systems on all these devices in with our new programming from the pumps, the meters, that we may be able in time eliminate people from going to the pumps every day and getting readings.
What I was really getting at is there a way that we can buy reserve pumps?
We have, for emergency purposes, yeah.
You can also, you budget it in.
But that's where it comes into that, you said each one's got different demands, so I mean, you can't like buy 37 reserve pumps because it only fits in this one spot.
And 37 reserve pumps at $17,000 a piece, that's a...
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is you can't just have some thrown in the corner as reserve pumps because they don't work everywhere.
No, that's why we had to unfortunately come
Well,
in.
we do with some. So like the last time, we got the spare 10 horsepower, and there is quite a few stations that are spec'd really, really close. And that was one of those pumps like that one, or even like one of these 15s or the 15 that we're trying to get repaired. Those are perfect to have on hand because they'll interchange with probably more than 50% of our stations. Cedar Creek's one of the oddball ones, requires, there's just a lot of head pressure
Cedar
there.
Creek and Morrison are the two large pumps.
high head,
Right.
a lot of head pressure.
I make a motion, we accept, I mean, we gotta have them.
Yes, sir.
I was just questioning why they're always going out.
It's part of doing business. Any further discussion?
I second that.
We have a motion and a
Bruce.
second.
Bruce, thank you.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember McMahon,
Yes.
Councilmember Hefner,
Yes.
Councilmember Brooke,
Yes.
Councilmember Rubel,
Yes.
Councilmember Hall,
Yes.
and Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-41 has been approved. Thank you, council. Next on the agenda is on several discussion items. First up is discussion on the this room remodeling. Council had approved us to go forward about seeing about remodeling this from a architect. Man, thank you. Rendering. Let's see if I can get that up. There you go. They came up with two different potential versions of this. These are just their renderings of this. Down the bottom right-hand corner, if you'll visualize this, the number one is basically how it is right now. Number two, we'll put it over there. It'll give more leg room and elbow room for council and planning commission, whoever else sits at that table. Also provides a little better security, if you will, for the judge and or us going out that back door on the right-hand side should there be an issue. And I will tell you that the renderings on these for cabin and others, as you rebuild these, the area in front of where we would sit would have a Kevlar lined base. Because as the world goes on,
Because we'll need that if we raise the sewer rates.
I was going to say, in light of the sewer rate, I think we just need to paint the paneling.
and this is, these are just renderings, and then a breezeway out in between the two buildings. We talked about putting a center door down there for handicap access, but our experts said no, they can be better off to do a breezeway over there and come forward. So the next portion and the next step of this is renderings and cost estimates. But of which proposal? Which proposal do y'all like?
Can you go back to
Yeah, there we are.
number 2? So you're changing the entrance completely from over here to
No,
over there?
no, it'll still be over there. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner, that's the entrance.
It just turns this to the right there where
Mhm.
the screen's at.
I will tell you that the staff and the judge like number 2.
I kinda like number 2 as well.
2? Okay. So the next step is go forward to the architect on rendering and then cost estimates, and we'll bring it back to council and see what it looks like. So I get a motion to move forward with proposal number 2.
A motion.
We have a
Move
motion.
forward.
We have a
Number
second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed?
Show 1 opposed. Next on the agenda is a discussion on the City Hall parking lot project. We contracted with Bond Engineering to give us a rendering of doing the parking lot. It's kind of a bad picture, but that white space in the middle right there is City Hall. The one behind it is the gym, if you can get that. This repaves all the parking area and creates parking spaces back there behind City Hall for PD and others. Does get rid of all the junk cars and junk buildings back there. It just makes it a much more professional looking facility. Dog park is on the other side of that. Doesn't take up. No, it doesn't. No, it's right. That's right on the borderline with it. Estimated cost of $257,000. I will tell you, council, that after getting this rendering, which I like the rendering, but after getting the estimated cost, I want to hold off on this. We have the drawing. We can come back later if we decide we want to do something, but there's some other things coming up we'll talk about here in a minute that I might want to spend $257,000 on differently. Although this monies we could take out of street funds because it's City Hall. But if it's okay with you, council, I'd entertain a motion to table this for future.
Table it.
So we have a motion to table. We have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next on is discussion about possible purchasing of some land next to the sports complex. And I'll have to ask Ms. Spence or Ms. McMahon to recuse herself from discussion because she's part of this. Yes. The trust?
Well, yeah, yes, but I don't think everyone is in agreement on that, so that's what I'm saying.
Well, this is just a discussion, but you're, because you would benefit from it, you would have to.
I wouldn't, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, well.
Two of us are going to, so that's what I'm saying. Do it.
Okay. Irregardless to, that's not a right word, that's a bad word. Without regard to what may or may not. I was approached by Kevin Spence to take a look at this and see what we thought about discussing with them about the possibility of purchasing this piece of property and this piece of property that adjoins it, adjoins the park.
Yellow.
Yeah, right behind the water.
Yeah, the yellow.
Yeah, you can see the park fields right there.
Right across from the school, right?
Yes.
The wooded area.
Behind the tower.
Miller stands every year at 4th of July.
Exactly. Now, obviously, this is not a dead thing in concrete at all, but I was approached about it. So if the council's approval, I'd like to have discussions with with Kevin Spence or whomever's in charge of this to see what their thoughts are on this, and then come back to you on what cost this might be. A little over 40, if I'm not mistaken.
Just that top front, just the front is what he's talking about, Rob. The whole thing is like.
So both parcels or both?
No,
Both parcels.
Are you saying both parcels?
Yes.
It's like, I thought it was like 33 or something.
Let me see here.
I think it's more than that, but.
See, 32.18 plus 15.64, so rough numbers, 47, 48 acres. Now, can we afford it? I don't know, but I think it's worth discussing. So with your permission, council, I will open up a line of discussion with them and see what their thoughts are, and it may be a situation where it's not actually available. I don't know. But, so if you don't mind, I'd entertain a motion to allow me to discuss the possible purchase of these properties.
I'll make the motion.
Put them on there.
You know?
I second it.
So we have a motion. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. We'll show, Ms. McMahon, recusing yourself on this discussion? Okay. All right, good deal. Next up is a discussion, we want to issue requests for proposals to clean and repair the city's water storage tanks. We have a requirement, Bruce? I'm glad you showed up tonight.
Yeah. So we had we had inspections done. I think our last sanitary survey, it was 5 years ago or close to it. And of course, we turned in those inspection reports then to ADH, Department of Health, and for their review as part of our sanitary survey. And, they said our sanitary was good, and they gave us no comment on it. Well, they just recently did a sanitary survey because it's been 5 years, and same thing, we gave them all our information, and they said those same reports would be fine, those same inspections. So we submitted them again, and they came back and told us that they want us to clean our tanks.
Clean tanks, and there's a couple of repair areas on top of a couple of them that same reports we issued 5 years ago, they didn't say anything about it. Now they say it for it. So we need to go forward with an RFP to see what's going to cost to get this stuff done. No. Yeah, it's really not a question of, I'm just letting you know, I want to issue an RFP.
Motion.
We have a motion to issue RFP.
Second.
Here we have a second. Any discussion?
Is that, how many tanks are we talking?
We got what? All of them.
Yeah, four. Four.
Four tanks.
Yeah. Now, if they can be cleaned robotically, which sometimes they can, that's a whole lot cheaper than if it has to be drained.
If we have to drain them, then you're getting the cost of filling them back up.
Yeah. But we'll have to let the people that do that stuff look at it and get their take on it.
Very good. So we have a motion and a second to allow me to issue a RFP. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Next up on the agenda, I don't have a slide for it, but discussion on, the wastewater audit. You have each been provided a copy. For the record, I need a motion to accept acknowledge and acceptance of the report. There is no findings on this report, so I need a motion and a second.
Motion to accept the findings in the report.
So we have a motion with a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That is important because if you don't put that in the record, you get a write-up for not doing that. All right, next on the agenda, last big thing on the agenda is my mayor's report. Okay, SART's 4 sidewalk project, which is Chanticleer and Caston area, awaiting RDOT's approval for a bid to bid the project out. The SART's 5, which is down Brewer Street, again, waiting RDOT's approval to bid the project out. RDOT does not work quickly on a lot of things. Meter replacement project, all the funds have been expended for the ARPA funds. I will tell you that we read meters the other day, over 4,000 meters in less than a minute. You want to do the man-hour study of that? We just saved a whole ton of man-hours. Now, we do still have some meters that are not being read. We still have some meters that we're changing out. We have some meters that on the south end of the system that are not reading, not connecting, and we're still working those issues. And the dashboard isn't totally up to what we want it to be yet. We're still working those issues. But I can tell you, if we're reading 4,000 meters plus by pushing a button, we are way ahead than what we used to be.
And this didn't cost us anything, right?
No, this did. Yeah, we had.
Oh, I thought this was the CARES money.
No, this was ARPA money. We had ARPA money, 100% of our ARPA money, $300,000 of county ARPA money, and then by resolution a year or two ago, we had authorized, I think, $400,000 of reserve funds if need be. But we have pretty much, my understanding, we've pretty much paid for this entire process now. Is that right? Okay.
Cool.
It was a big deal, and it's a good deal. Okay, Street 8 project has been delayed till October. We'll get that done. The Moore Crossing, the project has been submitted by Half Engineering to RDOT. We're waiting on that. The Body Vehicle Cam Grant project, we have submitted that by CEPDD. We talked about water tank cleaning, demolition. We talked about that. The overlay of Industrial Drive, if you drive by it tomorrow, it looks great. They did it yesterday. It looks fantastic. So we authorized payment on that today. And, the 2025 street aid request we have submitted. The UDO we're still working on. License plate reader cameras, 3 of them are in place. Finally got the letter from the county judge.
We heard us starting.
Well, okay. Finally got the letter from the county judge, and the 4th one will be installed as soon as possible. And we've talked about the 911 center, and that is my mayor's report for this month.
I make a motion after your announcements, we adjourn.
Well, hang on a second. Announcements. Planning Commission, August 24th. That's actually 26th, I believe. Come think of it. Monday. I think I wrote that down wrong. City offices will be closed for Labor Day. Next city council meeting is September 17th. And the UAMS mammo van will also be here on the 17th. So if you need a mammogram for anybody, make that appointment. Do we have any other further business in front of this council? Yes, sir. Come on forward, please. Did anybody sign up? We have some folks that sign up, but, okay, state your name, please.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's Ryder Ugaldi at 106 Willow Lake Drive, and
Sure.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, last week I stated, year 2021, you stated in project number 2 that the overlay of street asphalting should have been completed at $270,000 in your website. But, sir, it stops it's not complete. It stops from Lakeside and the stop sign, so the entire loop of Willow Lake is not complete at all.
That's correct.
That is, question is, when will that continue, sir, for that project to be completed?
I'm not sure. That project is complete. That scope for that street aid project did not include that street, just the streets that we did. That's an RDOT funded project in 2021. That street was not included in that project. So the project itself is complete for what street aid paid for. Yes, sir. Now, when is that street going to be included or paved? I can't tell you for sure.
But sir, it says on your website, it says Willow Lake, right? Isn't it the whole entire thing is Willow Lake?
It may say that, but the 2021 street aid project did not include that portion, and then what was in that project is complete. That street was not included.
So, sir, when the developer actually created this community, what did the reserve study says having to repave it of how many, like 17 years? Did it say like when the maintenance of this?
There's nothing in there on the maintenance. There's nothing on any subdivision on how often roads are repaved.
And there's no future plans, sir, from the city to repave that area, that loop?
Not at this time, no. Now, could that be included into a future street aid project? Potentially. Could we do it ourselves? Potentially. But I don't have anything on the books right now to do that.
Have you had a chance, sir, to actually look at it?
I drove it the other day. I was out there and parked out there near the area where we were talking about a parking area and walked that late. Yes, sir, I've driven that street.
Okay. So no date for
No,
any?
sir.
None.
No,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further for this council. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Second? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.